Welcome to Cognitive Rampage Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Lowery. Today on the show, we have Mr. Adam Gates, Mr. Naked and Healthy. He should be dressed, hopefully, for this one. I found Adam Gates on Facebook, and I've been following him for a couple months, and just watching his posts and his enthusiasm for life and his willingness to try anything, accept anything. It's almost as if you can see his enthusiasm through his posts, which is kind of rare for people. Generally, it's sometimes it's just reshares, etc., or long-winded text posts or etc. But Adam always seems to be excited or enthusiastic about a new idea or something he's involved with, and he's a nature lover just like myself. Perhaps the name Adam also was a lead in, but no, man, he's an artist, a painter, a marijuana advocate, a health nut advocate, a life enthusiast, really. But find Naked and Healthy on Facebook and like that page. It's definitely worth a follow. Adam Gates is an exciting guy. I'm looking forward to really meeting him. I haven't ever spoke to him before, so this will be our first time talking. And like most of you that may be watching, YouTube right now. This is where the guest is trying to sign on virtually, and I find it a way to try to lengthen what we're talking about while the guest figures out how to sign on. He's actually said he had it, so he should be joining us anytime soon. Let's see, I'm here. Need to join. Yeah, Google Hangout is new for a lot of people. They don't. A lot of people don't tend to use Google Hangout that much. But let me see here. Let me try to add him one more time. Resent. Don't worry about it, Adam. Sometimes it cancels itself when I send an invite early. So I sent an invite about an hour ago, and we've been trying to get some things ready. So it may have canceled. So I resent an invite and give me more time, I guess, to talk about Adam. But if you look Adam up, like I said on Facebook, he has this bell buckle thing that I want to talk to him about too. I don't know what it's all about, but we can find that out for sure. And you know what? I can also tell you a couple things that are coming up with the podcast. I am very excited about the future guests that are coming, not only today's guest, but we are booked solid for February and now booking into March as well. But we should have about 2 or 3 guests on each week is what we're reaching for, is what we're striving to do. February is rather close. We have so many cool guests from all over the areas of life, if you will, and jobs. Let's see, coming on tomorrow, actually, coming on tomorrow is black belt jiu-jitsu instructor and American Top Team founder, Paul Rodriguez. I'm very excited to talk to him. I had a lot of people suggest Paul to come on the podcast, and we finally got Paul to come on the podcast. So Paul Rodriguez will be joining the podcast tomorrow. He's actually will be in the cave, so we'll be hopefully streaming live by then on YouTube. Let's see. No, not here, brother. You would definitely be here. I don't see you there, Adam. Let's see. Well, shows your camera's there. Shows you're in the room sitting there. Well, I'm on here now, Adam, and we are live, and I'm looking at it, my brother, and I see that you sent me a picture that you're in it too. So, see, everybody, he's sitting in a room too. We're just not sure what room Adam may be sitting in. Not sure what invite it is, but I'm sure he'll figure it out here soon. You see us in the Hangout. Okay. That's weird. Let's see. I invited you to it. Um, mhm. Oh, no, no, no. That's the guest email. Let's see. Go to your email. Sorry, YouTube people, if you're watching it. You know what we'll probably start, well, we're definitely going to have to start doing is once we're streaming live, every podcast guest that we have inside the cave will be streaming live. But it looks like we may have to start editing the YouTube videos if we're doing virtual guests. We may have to do that, or may have to find a way to just get them on, log them on first, and then start it. But this kind of works for now. But to keep going on, Paul Rodriguez, like I said, American Top Team founder, black belt jiu-jitsu badass. He'll be in the cave tomorrow. Very special. The following week, second week of February, Renee, I'd have to look up her name. Oh, I'm so sorry. Renee is amazing. She actually had her people get in touch with my people. And Renee is one of the, if not the only woman who has a grow license in Canada, in British Columbia. And she took her company public. She has gotten rather successful and has a lot to talk about and to educate us on many things: cannabis, marijuana, legalization, growing, etc. Who knows? So she's an amazing woman. Can't wait to talk to her next week. And I don't see the calendar in front of me. Let's see who else is coming up. Well, my mentor, my very special mentor and close friend, I guess you could really say, is Leo Danabal. Sorry, my body's fighting a little something off. Leo Danabal is coming up. And he's going to join us in the cave on Valentine's Day. He's a relationship expert, connoisseur of sorts. But I love that man. He is probably the best therapist I've ever seen in action. He is a thrill to watch, a brilliant man to talk to. But I love him dearly. But Leo Danabal will be up talking relationships on Valentine's Day. I thought that was rather close. Let's see. Only got one email. Let's see here. Just sign you into ours. Yeah, try signing into ours. All right. It usually works a little quicker sometimes. So let's see, Leo's coming up. Oh, and we have at the the fourth week, geez, the fourth week coming up is Dr. Bobby Hoffman. And I am excited to talk to Dr. Bobby Hoffman. He's an adjunct professor at UCF. He's an author, a researcher, and study master, if you will, of motivation and drive. And I have so many questions for Dr. Bobby Hoffman. He's coming in. We're going to hang out in the cave as well. We'll definitely be streaming live by then from YouTube. We'll be streaming directly live from YouTube. But Dr. Bobby Hoffman's coming in. Let's see, my old friend Lee Andrews, who went out to LA years ago, released his first album and is dropping his second album. He's got a single out right now. He hit it big. And I love Lee Andrews' music. I haven't talked to him in many years. And he agreed to come on the show the last week of February. So I look forward to talking to him. Jesse Cage possibly will be on the show as well. The other half of the F&K podcast out of St. Pete Beach, Florida. Chris Fisher was the other half. He's my on-air mentor. He was a couple shows ago. We have a couple other people lined up. Carol Wick, the CEO of Harbor House, looks to come on hopefully in March. I'm missing a few, so I apologize. There's just a lot, and I got a lot of heads out there, a lot of reaches. Trying to bring some guests all over, from all over the place. So February is really exciting. March hopefully will be double that. A little update on the book too. The cover has been completed. We have the outside design, the interior design, the illustrations for the inside are done. And let's see. I'm going to try one more invite here, buddy. And let's see, the illustrations are done for the inside. There are 2 more rounds of editing. See, I have learned the edit, review, edit is what needs to be done. Almost more than writing the book. So it's been reviewed by 3 people so far. We've had very kind reviews. And there is Mr. Adam Gates himself. How you doing, brother? Uh-oh. I got everything but sound on you. Oh, I think your mic's muted.
You got me?
There he is.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is, man. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. How are you, man?
I am wonderful. You know, the best part about doing the virtual podcast for me is I like it when the guest takes forever to log on. I get to do the longest intros in the world. And it really, it does, man. I'm telling you, I think the guest before you a couple days ago was Jack the Bear. I think I gave him a 7-minute intro.
What did I get?
What do we hit? Almost a 6-minute intro.
Wow.
Yeah, but I covered it up with a lot of stuff I made up. So you got a lot to fill in, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Where do you want to start, man?
Oh, dude. Well, I started opening by talking about just kind of how I came across you. I've been following you for a couple months on Facebook and watching your posts, what you do. And I was just like, I love this dude. I don't know why, but this dude's fucking cool. I'm like, he seems to be living what I call, the cognitive rampage, that definition of chasing competence with enthusiasm by questioning self and others in the world humbly every day and chasing new experiences to build those passions. And that's what you seem to be doing, man. And I got that just from your fucking Facebook, man.
I appreciate it. That's something I really try to get across because, we'll get to this. I've lived a lot of different lives and, chasing, it's really about chasing happiness. That's really what it is, about chasing true happiness that doesn't require a substance to get me there, basically, is what I'm trying to do. And I feel like I found that, and I'm trying to share that with as many people as I can.
So where did it all start, Adam? Take me back, man. Tell us.
Well, let's see. Well, Naked Healthy, my kind of reemergence started about 5 years ago. I've been modeling since I was 19. I had body image issues in high school. I was 115 pounds out of high school. So I started really, really, really skinny, like super skinny. I ran track in Colorado and the whole thing. So at about 19, I started modeling, which got me involved in the health and fitness industry because you want to be in shape and you want to have your abs looking good and all that stuff. So I started working out, and basically I had a really hard time gaining weight. I did steroids when I was 19. I got a fake batch, did the whole mule in the leg thing, mule in the butt thing. And I'm like, this is a lesson. I'm never going to do this again. So fast forward that till about 5 years ago, working out, modeling, doing the whole thing. I got really, really sick with black mold, living in Atlanta, really sick. I dropped about 25 pounds in the span of about 6 months. All my family.
Wow. A lot of people don't, understand the black mold. Now in Florida, we get that a lot. It's wet down here all the time. Most of these houses leak somewhere. I don't care how new they are, but a lot of people don't really understand, man. Black mold will fuck you up, man.
Bad. It's
what'd you do? Did you work in an area? Did you just breathe? What happened?
I lived in it. So I moved into a house. I was there for 6 months total. And it just sort of crept up on me. I started noticing I was blowing my nose more than usual, and my diet started. I was healthy moving into that house, and I noticed over time I started eating kind of shittier and shittier, and I was craving more pizza and ice cream and sweets and candies and alcohols and all this stuff. And all this time and it just what really hit me is I went to New York to go visit my family over the holidays, and I came downstairs and I came around the corner collectively. Everybody in my kitchen was like, holy shit, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? And I was offended because I've been working out. You know, I thought I was eating well, taking care of myself, and all this stuff. And I went upstairs and I got on the scale, and come to find out I lost about 20 pounds.
Oh my God. What was the spread? 6 months?
About 6 months.
Wow, man.
And within that 6 months, when I went and actually got tested at the doctors, I was in like the 80th percentile. Like they tested my nervous system. They tested, like they wanted to know if I was twitching. They wanted to know, like, I can't believe that more people don't have any idea how badass black mold can just rock your world. I mean, it's crazy.
Dude,
It's
what
crazy.
kind of testing should people do, bro? If they're thinking that's happening, what would you go to the doctor and test for?
What I did is I went to the doctor. She ran blood tests and she did like some cotton swabs and things like that. The first doctor I went to, and this actually is how I got into the whole natural healing thing. The first doctor I went to, I asked her what I could do. You know, I said, this is the situation I'm in. I've been living here for 6 months. I'm filling up a trash can every day, blowing my nose. I said, I'm sick. I don't feel good. I'm depressed. I'm just way off. Her suggestion was to move, which is very obviously, thank you. But I need help, like fix me. Like, what do I do to get better now? Like, I'm already sick. I know I need to move, but I'm not just going to get better because I moved. So I went to another doctor. They did kind of a form of shock therapy on my wrists. They put some bands around, and I don't know if that's normal. I've not ever had to deal with this before, but it felt wrong.
What?
So I said, screw it. I'm moving back to Colorado. It's dry. I'm going to go to Colorado, and I'm going to clear my lungs out.
Okay, so hold on. Shock therapy for black mold.
They put bands on my wrists and basically sat there, and I've got video. I can find it and actually get it to you, of me like with my hands like curling up like this. And I sat there for about 30 minutes, and they were doing like this. It was a light kind of electrode type treatment. I don't know. I didn't like it. It felt weird to me, and so that's why I that was kind of the last thing that made me decide that I'm going to get out of Atlanta. I'm going to go to a dry climate. I've lived in Colorado before. I know what the air's like. I know what the people are like. I know it's a healthy environment, and that's where I'm going to go. And that's ended up being what I did.
Dude, there's been a huge flock to Colorado, man. I'm trying to get the hell out.
I can't imagine why.
I'm trying to get out of this prison state of Florida, brother.
Yeah. You guys have a vote coming up, don't you?
Who knows, man? Honestly, I do have a little insight on it. I can't talk about it. I actually, he got in a little trouble, but they already had things established here, like grow houses, everything, man. But it turns out a lot of them packed it in. They're only going to give out 4 licenses. It's not going to be like it is in Colorado. It's all for profit. And so there will be no dispensaries. There will be no nonprofit, no cards. You actually go get your prescription at the doctor, and then you fill it this way. So it's all for profit. So they're just the 4 licenses they're giving out are 2 gigantic farms, big sugar, big tobacco.
Is that exactly similarly to what they were going to do in Ohio?
Yep, same thing. They just found a way. I mean, being a right-wing state, brother, they found a way to control supply, demand, to make even more money off of it and control it.
Exactly. I know, and that's part of the. Yeah, we can get into that, but that's definitely part of the issue with the whole thing. And the problem is that Colorado, they've had such a decrease in crime. They had a 52% murder rate drop in crime in 1 year. I mean, you tell me what other way you could possibly do that with anything. You could give everybody $10,000 a day and you wouldn't drop the murder rate 52% in 1 year.
You'd probably raise it because people would be jacking people.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, it's unfortunate that Big Pharma is behind that as much as they are. It's as soon as they get their medicine rolled out, I'm sure it'll be legalized across the board.
Well, what these guys were telling me here, that we're all set up doing CBD oil and stuff because they passed Charlotte's Web already, but there was no money in it. But what they were telling me is they're thinking by 2017, and these are multinational corporations, you know what I mean? These are all over the place. And what these guys are telling me is they're thinking by 2017, 18 latest, that the federal government's going to lift the whole ban. And so you better get in now to make money if you can. If you can't get in, get out, because once the Fed lifts it, then it's all state controlled, products.
Mom and pops are going to be just steamrolled.
Yep.
I know. That's really unfortunate. There was actually an amazing documentary just the other day called The Marijuana Revolution. It was one of the more recent ones to come out. I think it was on the History Channel. I don't want to misspeak here, but I believe it was on the History Channel. It was amazing, but they were talking about just how much money they had made and the crops and basically exactly that, the big pharma. And, you know, it's unfortunate. You know, it's really unfortunate because the big guys are going to move in and just take over everything. You know, like these small edible places are going to get bought out and steamrolled, and it's going to be.
Yeah, if I could probably say some more, but more than likely I'll disappear in the next week if I said some more. But
We don't want that.
no, I mean essentially, well, fuck it, who gives a shit, right? Yeah, I'm strapped. Anyway, no, I'm saying it because what they do is they use DEA to raid the mom and pop places and shut them down on federal. And then the international companies step in, buy the whole thing from the federal government. Then they rehire the people they just busted to run the shit for a salary. Yep. Yeah, soak that shit in. Yeah.
Sounds like Monsanto taking crops or taking farms.
Well, you see, Monsanto bought what used to be Blackwater, right?
No.
Yeah, Monsanto now has the largest private army in the world and most highly equipped and highly advanced and larger than most small countries.
That's mildly not that surprising due to the bill that they passed. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago that put them above Congress. They passed it like on a Christmas Eve at midnight. They just snuck it in a 500-page bill that just put them. So that's really not that surprising. And the fact that everybody is becoming aware of Monsanto at this point, I'm honestly not that surprised. It's scary.
It's scary.
Why do they need that?
Well,
that's the question.
Their front was because of all the farmers that they're destroying in the other countries for protection from guerrilla warfare. That's what they're saying.
Don't we have oceans?
Yeah, who fucking knows, man? But I'm like, Jesus, dude. It's ugly and scary, man. But yeah, we got left down in conspiracy spiral there, man. My bad.
That's all good. It's all good. Well, that goes along with the whole health thing, because I mean, it's, you know, when I was going through the mold situation and I decided to move to Colorado, I had a drinking problem. I was smoking cigarettes. I modeled for 15 years, so Adderall and cocaine were occasional uses. Occasional, I'd say a couple times a month. It's not like I was, you know, Scarface or anything, but you know, you drink and then it leads to one thing that leads to another. So I was eating healthy. I was living pretty healthy all in all. I was still, you know, drinking was my main thing that I had to get rid of. So when I moved to Colorado, that was the first thing that I attacked was the alcohol. So
that's a dangerous drug, brother. I mean, I treated people for a long, long time, man, and that's it. That's the main bad boy right there.
The number one. Because it's everywhere. It's the easiest one to get to. Everybody says marijuana is a gateway drug. It's like marijuana is harder to get than alcohol. Alcohol's in every parent's cabinet in the country. Marijuana, you got to look for it. Like it's a little bit harder to find. So I had a big alcohol issue. I was drinking 4 to 6 nights a week. It started as social. I didn't drink at all until I was 21. At all. So I made up all sort of on my late time. But
it kind of comes with the territory, though, right? I mean, it comes with the modeling territory, the late nights, the clubs, the parties, the hanging out. That's just the life, man.
Exactly it. You know, I had an ugly duckling syndrome, and don't forget, like I mentioned, you know, I was super skinny. I was real awkward in high school. So the fact that I was in that environment, I did probably what most people would have done. You know, I enjoyed it. So,
so black mold almost kills you. You find,
basically,
yeah, I mean, that's dead serious, man. You find your way to Colorado to escape it. You're overcoming alcoholism, dude. I love this shit, man. Keep rolling.
So, overcoming alcoholism, I go to 4 AA meetings in Boulder. My mom was living in Colorado. I meet a homeless guy named Mark. I'm sleeping on my mom's couch in Boulder, Colorado. She opens the door, in walks her with a Christmas tree behind her and a homeless man going, "Hey, man." Okay, so because I was staying with her while I was looking for a place to live in Colorado.
Yeah.
He was a recovered alcoholic for 22 years, huge pothead, homeless, lived in shelters, lived on the street, lived in a tent in the field, the whole thing. And over the span of me living out there for 2 years, we became close. I ended up going to Alcoholics Anonymous because of him. He's like, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And if it's for you, it's for you. And if it's not, you know, you'll know. But, you know, give yourself the respect to at least go and see, you know, what it's worth. And I didn't want to go. My mom told me I had a drinking issue for a long time, which was making the mold worse. So the drinking issue and then the mold on top of that, it made it really, really bad. So I went to 4 Alcoholics Anonymous classes, meetings, and decided that I wanted to do it on my own. And I stopped going to the meetings and hanging out with my friend Mark, the hippie. You know, we were smoking a lot of pot, and he was talking to me about him overcoming his addiction with alcohol, and you know how a lot of the people out in, you know, the homeless game, whatever you want to call it, the homeless have drinking issues, and a lot of the people, you know,
it's a circuit, brother. I mean, a lot of the homeless, there's a actual, I forget what they call it. I have to look it up, but there's a trail, if you will, that a homeless walk that's seasonal, that goes from state to state to state. And so it actually matches with the snowbird flocking. So when they go where the money goes, and so when the snowbirds flock down to Naples and south, the winter turns cold up north, they follow and walk the same trail down south. And so they find themselves, this is why you find in very affluent cities during summer and spring, homelessness almost triples, is they all follow, and it'll filter down through Gainesville, all down the East Coast into Boca and Miami.
I lived in Miami. They are all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild life out there, man. I've talked to a few people out there, man. So you connect with this guy Mark, man, and link up with him, and you were drinking's definitely a problem, is what you were saying, I think.
Yeah. I was having a big issue with it, and the interesting part is that I didn't really realize how much of an issue I had until I tried to stop. That was when it was kind of a slap in the face, because you know, my mom had used the A word, the alcoholic word, more than once. And I thought I was young. You know, I'm 29, I'm 30, I can't be an alcoholic yet. You know, alcoholics they're older, right? You know, they're not healthy. I run. You know, I lift weights. I can't be an alcoholic. So I tried to stop. I couldn't stop. That was a big thing for me. It was about 4 or 5 nights in a row of me beating myself up and actually not drinking, because I relate it to the old dieting adage. As soon as you go on a diet, you want to just start eating shitty food. Like, I can't tell you how many times at a photo shoot, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to eat this and this today, or, you know, for this week, and then all you want is chips and French fries and chocolate. So what I learned is that alcohol is a controlling substance, that once it is inside your body, that it basically has control of you, and that when you try to not consume the substance, you just lower and lower and lower the amount that's in your body, which is the withdrawals, which is why people that do methamphetamines or do meth more than heroin, you know, the harder drugs, it's a lot harder to come off of something. So when you're drinking, the come down's a lot longer, you know, it's usually a day or two. So if I was drinking 4, 5, 6 days a week, and then I try to cut that down to none, I would be good for a day or two, but by day 3 or day 4, I was not a happy camper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it technically, other than benzodiazepines, it's the only drug that you can die detoxing from if you're not careful. Yeah, you cannot die detoxing from heroin. So a lot of people that detox from heroin, you know, Dr. Carl Hart, one of my mentors, he describes it as having a bad flu. I think that's being kind of nice. I've seen it terribly tear people apart, but you can't die from it. So benzodiazepines you can die detoxing from, and alcohol are the only 2 drugs that you can die from detoxing from.
Very interesting. Yeah, I didn't have a good time. It was mentally, for me, it was very trying, which I don't know if you see all the paintings behind me. That's actually when I started painting.
Isn't that wild, man? Isn't that nuts, dude? When people are going through, because I was addicted myself, I've been through, that's what I treated. I was a therapist clinically for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, that's what we do. And so when I got out of it, we all get creative. Isn't that wild? Like, we all just...
You got to fill your time. There's so much time I have. I'm like, wow, I spent all of my time getting fucked up. Like, from 4 o'clock in the afternoon on, I was planning how I was going to get wasted. And then you pregame and you do whatever. And it's, you know, and I don't want to make it sound like I was a belligerent drunk, you know, driving down the window, throwing beer cans out. You know, I was a typical social, go to a bar, pregame with your friends, you do some drinking, and then you wake up with a little hangover, you know, but it was just 8 years of it. And it just added up, it added up, it added up. And
what I like to tell people too, and like, I got friends that drink and stuff, you know, I'll have, you know, a few once in a while, but I'm not a big drinker. Although if I'm going to get down, I may get down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's rare, you know.
That's exactly how I am.
Just not a fan. It hurts my stomach too much. But I tell people, I'm like, look, when people think they have a hangover, what I tell them is you're really in withdrawal. it's not dehydration, it's nothing else. It's pure withdrawal. That's what a hangover is, because you flood your body the night before with the drug. Alcohol leaves your system faster than any other drug on a release, so you pee it all out, right? So when you flood your body with drink after drink all night, and then you pee it all out, you sweat some, you wake up the next morning, what happens is the drug is gone and your body is fiending for it. And so it wants more. What do we all know is the cure for a hangover? Another fucking beer.
Exactly.
So if you put a beer behind a hangover, it's gone. Well, that's because it's fucking withdrawals.
Exactly. I know people don't. I try to explain that to people. It's like you're so easy to talk about how people have meth addictions. You're like, oh, they have a heroin addiction, they have a meth addiction. It's like you have a raging alcohol addiction and you don't even realize it. Like that's the thing, and that's what scares me the most, is that people realize when they have a cocaine problem or they have a heroin problem. A lot of people don't realize when they have it.
Because they go fucking broke.
Yeah, exactly.
Broke, they're
Exactly.
selling their house and shit.
And it's visible. You can see it. I mean, you can tell somebody that has a heroin or meth, problem versus alcohol. And that's why I talk about my alcohol addiction on such a regular basis, because I have people reach out to me on a weekly basis that are, how did you give up alcohol? Like, what did you do? The withdrawals are too bad. I get asked a lot. So
what'd you do?
Cold turkey. It was hard. A lot of pot. Honestly, I smoked a lot of pot.
I'm a huge fan, bro. Huge fan, as people know. I'm sorry. I was about to go off, dude. It's all you.
No, by all means. No, like we can, no, it's, Mark told me that it helped him when he quit drinking. I saw it as just a more natural resolution. And at this point, I was doing the research on mold. I was doing research on alcohol. I was smoking a lot of pot in Colorado, so I started doing research on pot. And basically, I took everything that was in my life and I put it in front of me, and I wanted to see a breakdown of, if I took this out, how did I feel? If I took this out, how did I feel? I owed it to myself to not drink for at least 4 or 5 days, see how I felt, see how productive I could be, see how my body felt. I needed to start the healing process. And so it was the 4 or 5 AA meetings. And in one of the meetings, something clicked with me, that I did not want to live my life by having to go to a meeting, on a regular basis. Absolute all power to anybody that AA works for. And I'm not trying to knock it for anything. I'm sure it works for millions of people, but I wanted to have
about 1% to 2%.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Look, I don't try to knock AA either, brother. I don't, because I'm glad there's something. If there was not AA, there would be nothing, and literally nothing. But one of their slogans is saving millions every day, and it's very true. But if you look at ever many people are on addiction and then get cured, or not cured, they wouldn't say that, recovered or whatnot, it's only about 1% to 2%. But countrywide, that's millions of people, right? But I mean, I was in those clinics, brother. I saw it not work many times. I saw it fail more than I saw it work. But like I said, it helps millions. So thank God there's something. There's contradictions in everything. From my theory to getting over addiction, what my book is about. My book's not about getting over addiction. It's about changing and optimizing your life. No matter where you're at, what you're doing. But I don't know, man. Addiction has a lot of different angles, if you will, man.
Yeah, it does. And then that ties into the food and where my blog started, is because I realized that the food industry had basically, what happened when I was sick with mold is I craved sugar. And I ate a ton of sugar. I ate a ton of carbs. I was eating pizza. I was craving alcohol, like I said before. I was craving.
Was that in the research? Did you find that in the research?
Yep. For some reason, mold does something. It eats the sugar or something like that that's in your system, which constantly kept me wanting to eat more sugar, which then started a perpetual process of the same as the withdrawals with the alcohol. People don't realize, like, the sugar up and down is just withdrawals. You drink soda, you get a sugar high, and then you have the withdrawal, which is the sugar crash. And I started pulling everything apart. I looked at the sugar, I looked at the food, I looked at the dairy industry, I looked at the pot, I looked at the alcohol, I looked at everything. I'm like, if pot's bad, I'm going to quit smoking pot. Alcohol, I know it's ripping my life apart. I need to quit the alcohol. What else is in my life at this point, I threw everything up on the whiteboard and I'm like, all right, let's just rewrite everything, because clearly what I'm doing is not working. My car's getting booted. You know, I've lost relationships due to alcohol. I don't feel healthy. I don't look healthy. I'm aging faster than I want to age. Something's going on. And then the mold was kind of like, I felt like it happened to sort of slingshot me into the position that I'm in now. Like something needed to happen, because once I started taking a look at the food industry and realizing that all of my friends that were having issues with depression or needing to be on all these different things was mostly due to the way that they were eating and the way that we were all living. It kind of blew my mind. It kind of blew my mind. So I moved from.
You skipped over something, man. Once you start to get into it, man, I'm gonna start writing notes, brother. So you just keep going, man. So if I'm looking down, man, I'm just scribbling notes down, dude.
Okay.
You know, I talk about in my book throwing away your entire environment. I talk about my rule of two. If any person, place, or thing is too removed from any person, place, or thing you don't need to be around, it goes. And you cut everything and you dump it all, because part of that could be cancerous, right? You wouldn't have cancer and go to a doctor and say, hey, leave 0.0% of that cancer in there just in case, right? So you remove it all. I talk about changing your hairstyle, changing your music, changing your clothes, fucking everything to be uncomfortable.
I did actually change my music. Completely changed.
No
Actually,
shit.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Continue with what you're saying. I want to hear the rest of them.
Oh no, I was jumping anytime, bro. And but other than dumping it all, an attitude shift changes, and I love it, man. Most people that almost get killed by black mold tend to stay pissed off at that for a while. And real quickly, you dropped a silver lining in it. You were like, you know, I think I almost died for a good reason.
I consider myself a silver linings expert. I I was raised to be positive, I guess. I was raised in a very, very loving household.
Shout out mom and dad. Shout out mom and dad.
Shout out mom and dad. They divorced when I was 9, but even after the divorce, you know, my dad and mom, they lived apart, but they both made an amazing effort to be wonderful parents, and I owe everything to them, and will continue to give them, you know, their credit due.
We get emotional there, man. I dig that.
Yeah, they're really, really good people. We're still really, really close. But anyways, as far as being positive goes, positivity defeats. Not staying positive is a very easy way I found to just be defeated all the time, because I used to live in the past and be angry with people that I thought did things to me. You live in a victimhood and stuff just sort of happens to you, as opposed to you kind of having the joystick and controlling your own life. It's just shit just hits you and you're just like, why is this all happening? Why is my tire flat? Why is this? And why is this? And you don't really understand that you're manifesting this negativity from the thoughts that you're having. And so when I got sick, it was basically, I got the message. It was like, you need to go to Colorado, you need to get healthy, and you're going to do this your own way, and you don't need a hospital, and you don't need a doctor, and just you'll be fine. And that was the message that I got, and that's wholeheartedly what I listened to. And I honestly didn't put a lot of thought into what I did. It was sort of, I jumped to this lily pad, that lily pad was sturdy, then I jumped to the next lily pad. I got over alcohol. Cool, what's next? Cigarettes? Done. I got over alcohol. I can definitely quit cigarettes. I tried to quit cigarettes for about 4 or 5 years, and finally, after the alcohol went, I had a self-pride that I never experienced, that literally was the motivation for everything else I did. Once you have like that first little bit of self-pride, just after the first 2 or 3 days of not drinking, and then like, well, I've got 2 or 3 days under me, I can go to the 4th day. And then you wake up on the 4th day and you're like, well, I'm not going to fuck this up now, because I'm doing a great job. So,
dude, I'm jumping in, man, because anytime I can, I try to point out what I wrote in my book where it correlates to people's lives, because all it does is where I'm like, okay, yep, I was right about that. I wrote it down, you know, and so I came up with this principle that I call the CCE principle, which is the competence to competence equals enthusiasm. And what you did by that is you sought out competence and conquering alcohol. So when you sought out competence, competence can come in the form of an experience. Through those experiences and gaining competence, we get confident. So you sought out competence and research in life and health and nutrition and self-competence, because self-competence leads to self-confidence. But in all of that competence chasing and self-awareness created so many experiences that led you to be confident that when you looked at a cigarette, you went, fuck that.
Yeah, I'm better than that.
Yeah.
Literally. It was before it. Yeah. It was, it went from being a crutch or something that was just, I had an internal timer. I don't know if you ever smoked or if you know people that smoke. You don't even smoke when you want a cigarette. It's just a timer goes off in your head and you're outside and you're halfway through and you're like,
What the fuck?
what am I even doing? I don't even mean to, I'm not even enjoying this, but you just do it because you have the timer that's inside you. And, yeah, I'll never forget it. I opened it up. I had one cigarette left and I looked at it and I said, this is going to be my last cigarette I ever have. And I was at work. I was actually landscaping out in Colorado, and one of the guys I was working with, one of the Hispanic dudes, he's like, you're a liar. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And I lit it. I smoked half of it, and just out of principle, I threw it out after half, and that was it. And the alcohol, being able to give up the alcohol, like I said, that self-pride of me actually slaying the monster, so to speak, just, it gave me so much confidence to just walk in the dark and not be scared anymore.
Well, it sounds like through that little, well, all that competence and all those faucets that you were seeking it in created so many experiences that not only a confidence in self built, but a confidence to do many things. And that leads to the CCE, and the E is the enthusiasm. And now it seems like your enthusiasm just kept going, like, feed me more competence, give me everything.
It's crazy. And then, yeah, because at this point, my blog hadn't even started. So the alcohol went, the cigarettes went, I'm smoking weed, and get a load of this. So after I quit cigarettes, I would take a hit of weed, whatever kind. It could be, vaporizer. I personally, I like to smoke out of a pipe. But whenever I'd smoke marijuana, I would cough up tar and black mold. So much to the point to where I had to smoke pot outside because it would clear my lungs out. And I've never heard anybody else talk about that. Every single time I would take a hit, tar would come out and mold would come out, and I could see the difference between the two. Not to get gross, but when you quit cigarettes, you cough up some nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Within like a month, the black tar, it was coming out in just disgustingness, and then it just dwindled within a month, and it was about gone.
Wow.
Huge difference.
I mean, back when I went on Joe Rogan, I made a statement on there about his alpha brain and cigarettes. And back when I was, kind of typing it or frustration, right, it would be like a cigarette randomly, throughout the week. And generally because my neighbor would have one, and it'd be like 2 a.m. and I'm like, fuck, and so I'd smoke one. Man, and I couldn't even finish it. When you don't smoke for years and you try to smoke a cigarette and you go, holy shit, it hurts so bad. And you're like, I can't believe I ever smoked more than a half of one of those.
Well, it's crazy because the coating that it puts on your tongue is that after you quit smoking and you smoke, you taste it on your tongue. When you don't smoke, it puts that coating on your tongue and you can't taste the smoke, which also is the reason why fruit doesn't taste good. Can't eat vegetables. It got way easier to be healthy after I quit smoking because it was like, oh shit, I can actually taste a peach.
Yeah, you need that rich, salty, sugary shit just to taste anything.
Yeah. It's like dipping your tongue in wax.
Yeah, man. I forgot what point I was getting to. I was out front.
Joe Rogan, the alpha brain.
Yeah, and the alpha brain. And for some reason, what I tried to tell him was like, look, I don't think you guys meant to or researched it, but an alpha brain curbed any smoking sensation I ever had, like hardcore curbed it. And that one night where I happened to try to smoke a half one, I got almost so sick, and I had just taken 2 alpha brain. And I almost got so sick that it ever deterred me from ever wanting to taste it or smell it again. And so when I was on the show, what I was trying to tell him, I was like, dude, it has a major repulsion from cigarettes when you take alpha brain. It's fucking crazy. It's like your brain's going, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will put you on your knees, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. My problem with, and for anybody who is trying to quit smoking, my trick, and there were 2 that I had. One was I bought cigarettes I didn't like. That was like the biggest trick that I learned out of anything. I bought like American Spirit menthols or something just awful. I mean, it was just like I wanted to quit, and I tried so many different times to go cold turkey, or I'm only going to smoke this half a cigarette and I'll smoke this half later. So I bought cigarettes I didn't like, and then I typically had a rhythm. of how many cigarettes I would smoke a day. I knew I would smoke about 8 a day. I'd smoke one on the way to work. I'd smoke one at lunch. I'd smoke one here. And I started eliminating how many I would bring with me throughout the day. I just had to make a conscious effort. If you just wing it and you're like, well, I won't, I'm just not going to smoke when I feel like I'm not going to smoke, it's not going to work. It's too hard because you're always going to want a cigarette. You know, even after a month after I quit smoking, there's still times it came up and it's like you go for it because you've been doing it for so long. So,
dude, I'm telling you, I think it's hard. I think people could open up cigarette rehabs and do wonders.
Yeah.
I'm serious, man. I mean, it's because why not? Because we're willing to treat people for thousands of billions of tax dollars to help them with heroin and these things. I mean, cancer being caused by cigarettes, all the money on the back end for treatment of those things. I mean, let's just face it. Why not have cigarette rehabs, man? We laugh at it, but we have rehabs for free alcohol. Hell, we need a sugar and carbohydrate rehab.
I was just going to say, there's nothing funny to me about cigarette rehab because, I mean, addiction is addiction, man. Like, people think, you know, if addiction wasn't an issue, we wouldn't have 66% of this country overweight. You know what I mean? Like, that's an outrageous.
Sorry, dude. Sorry. That's the only issue with virtual podcasts is we'll both start and then both stop. You know, I'll see you start talking, I'll shut up. And then we, you know, Chris Bell, my friend, just put out that documentary, Prescription Thugs. And
I haven't seen it yet.
Dude, you got to download it. It's #1 on iTunes. And he got 2 #1 documentaries in the same week because he was also the producer of The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. And Prescription Thugs he just put out. It tells an amazing tale, you know, about pharmacology. And one of the statistics he drops in there is 48% of this country takes a pill every morning. 60% takes a pill every night. These aren't supplements. Takes a pill every night. 90% of the supplements consumed in the world are consumed within the United States.
And on top of that, I think this 20% of people are taking 5 pills a day. And you bear in mind that each one of those pills is definitely going to do something to some part of your body, at least something.
Yeah.
All you got to do is listen to the commercials. I mean, everybody knows it's an ongoing joke. I don't even need to go into it. You know, may cause suicidal tendencies. Well, that's suicide, right? Yeah. Like a tendency, like I might try to kill myself. Okay, well, that's not as bad as my foot hurting. So.
Dude, this is I call it a magic pill society, brother. And marketing has done this to us, you know. And dude, I literally would have clients come in and sit down in front of me when I was in private practice. And they would sit down in front of me and go, well, yeah, I've been drinking for about 5 or 6 years. And well, I figured you had a pill for that. And I was like, what? Yeah, I can't I just get a prescription and I won't drink anymore? I was like, are you? And this wasn't like a once thing. Like it's easy 5-6 times a week.
That's surprising and sad,
isn't it? I would go, what are you? Excuse me.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way. Well, if you live in the matrix, and I took myself totally out of it. Like when I moved to Boulder, I don't watch news. I haven't watched the news in 4 or 5 years. I don't watch television. I don't. I even stopped watching sports. I stopped. I fell out of a lot of stuff. I started just painting and writing and researching. That's basically what I work out.
Dude, there is such this common thread, all right, because I'm on a mission this year, and I'm trying to interview guys like you and girls like you, or girls like you too. You know,
girls like me. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
They're big.
Yeah, people like you, and you know, that are living their rampage, and you know, have totally changed their lives from A to B. And I keep finding a very, 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 very common thread amongst other things. I mean, tons of them. But one common thread is what you just said is I stopped watching TV and I even stopped watching sports. Now, brother, I'm an ex-football player. I played for many, many years. I played in college. I played some semi-pro. I mean, I balled. I shit you not. I watched not one football game this year. Yep. When the playoffs were over, I was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah. It's like you see highlights and you're like, oh shit, you're at week 9 already? Oh my God.
I'm a diehard Giants fan, bro. And I'm like, I didn't watch a game. And you start to feel bad. And look, people listen to this podcast, stop saying fuck you, Adam. All right, because I know you're listening to this and you watch sports and you know how we sound right now, Adam, we sound like we're douchebags going, hey, yeah, we read and we read the book, and we sound like the guys that say the book is better than the movie, you know, and a lot of times that is.
I will say this, books are, Yeah, I typically do like the movies better than the books, so I'm on the side of those people. So listen, I'm not.
Me
But yes,
too.
I do understand how it sounds. I totally understand how it sounds, and
But
that
it
was one.
happens. It just happens. You see this common thread, man. People just, it's weird.
What happened. Everything happened to me happened over the period of about the time span of about 4 years. So after I dropped the news, after the what was it? The
How long
Fukushima.
ago are we talking?
Right around when was Fukushima? Around 2011 or 2011?
If we only
2012?
had a device that we could search the entire world of things of when it happened.
In the future, we'll have that. So sometime I don't remember what it was, but after Japan happened, I was glued to the television, and I realized that for about 3 days, glued to the television. And after that, that was it for me. I decided I was going to take a break from the news. I didn't want to watch any local news. I didn't want to watch, because I was a weather junkie. And so anytime there's a tornado or a hurricane or a storm or anything like that, I would research and I would want to know, how much damage was done and how big was the earthquake and how many people got hurt and all this stuff. And then what I did is I realized that it was bringing down the vibration, my overall vibration of my body. Everything emits a frequency, and we're just walking, emitting frequency all day long, So if you're constantly thinking the world's going to shit, ISIS is going to attack me at the grocery store, this person's going to steal my baby, this person's going to steal my car, freaking Black Friday and all this stuff, it fills your head. And I was constantly on the defense and just ready to fight, like all the time. And I was a good person. It's not like I was like walking around trying to push people around, but I was on alert. And when I cut the news and I decided I'm just going to cut out television, I realized, well, shit, football is included in that. That was like my main thing. And everybody's like, well, are you going to watch football? And I would start by I'd go to friends' houses and go to the bar and watch this and that. But then when I stopped drinking, it kind of becomes a hard issue when you're not watching the news, you're not watching TV, and you're not drinking. All of a sudden, you kind of become an outcast to your friends for a little bit. It's like
all of which makes you want to drink, watching the news and watching football,
exactly.
and watching TV, and two, tell me that doesn't put the myth to bed of the pothead, right? Because isn't the pothead supposed to watch TV, be at the bar, and sit on the couch?
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, yeah, I'm smoking weed, hiking mountains, and I'm painting. I busted out like 20 paintings my first year.
All your
I stopped watching news.
Work behind you.
Yeah. It's like,
holy shit! Look at that. Oh, that's badass. Look at that top one, man. Oh, dude, I love that top one, and the bottom, that black and orange one there, the bottom down to the right.
Thank you, man.
Oh, that's bad. Can I buy that?
These are my babies.
I want that one. That's awesome.
I appreciate it. But it's crazy because it's like when it came to like the painting and stuff, it was always something that I wanted to do, but I didn't have time. And I looked up at people that painted as like better or something. I don't know what it was. It was just they had something that I haven't. And I want to say, like, none of this is talent. Like, I don't think I have any talent. I'm just diligent as shit, and I don't want to not be able to paint. So I sat down and I'm like, I'm going to paint this until it looks okay enough that I will show it to people. And then I'm done. And I start my other painting, and it's the same way. But it was something that this came in as soon as the drinking stopped, and when I met Mark is when I really started painting. It was like the same week. As soon as the alcohol stopped, the painting started like the same week. So, and then with all that free time, no football, no drinking, no partying, this is how I spent my nights.
There's about 8,000 people in the car just went, fuck you. No drinking, no partying, no football. What the fuck are we supposed to do?
I did say smoking weed.
Yeah, that's true. All right. But we'll see. Remember, a lot of these heavy drinkers are anti-weed, right? You never really find the drinker-smoker guy or girl, right? It's always like, nah, I'm a smoker, not a drinker.
Yeah, because I never smoked pot unless I was drunk. My friends would smoke pot. I hung out with some stoners, but they wouldn't drink too much, and then we would drink, and then I would smoke pot, and which was honestly the reason I didn't like pot that much, is because it would make me loopy. Because after you're drunk and then you smoke pot, not a good time. And then I was anti-pot because I thought it made me sick, and all these other reasons. So that was when everything. So after the meeting and the alcohol, the cigarettes dropped. I kind of looked at my life and I was in a state of empowerment. I'm like, what can I possibly do at this point to go up from here? Because I've quit 2 or 3 things now that have made me feel incredibly empowered. Alcohol was a huge thing. The cigarettes were a huge thing. And then I taught myself to paint, and at least the ability to put color on canvas, So I started researching food, and I started researching basically every single thing I was eating. I researched dairy, I researched meat, I researched fruit juice. I researched everything that I was eating, anything that was going into my mouth. I started researching, and that was when I started my blog, because I went from being I don't want to use the term depressed, but I was on borderline depressed because I was just
what's your blog, and I'll put all that out there, my brother.
Okay, so on Facebook, Naked Healthy by Adam Gates. And same on Instagram, it's Naked Healthy by Adam Gates. And then on Twitter, it's just Adam Gates, at Adam Gates. So when I was living in Boulder on my own, out in the foothills, and I was out there for about 2 years, and just researched everything. Like I said, yogurt, milk, everything, working out, cardio. Because like I said, with the modeling for 15 years, I had body image issues, and with all these different photo shoots and this and that, I never really.
You don't hear about that much, man. What do you mostly hear about when you hear about body dysmorphic disorder or bulimia, anorexia? What do people think? Yeah, you think women models, man.
Women.
So, I see more in your eyes, brother. Tell me more about the modeling world, man. Tell me how they get you.
Well, yeah, first off, it's competition, and it pays well. So you want to book as many jobs as you possibly can, and you want to be fit. Obviously, if you're fit, you're going to book work. So with the drinking, it adds weight, and you don't really learn that the drinking adds weight. You just sort of drink and do your thing. And I had issues with losing weight, and I was constantly on this roller coaster of up and down and up and down. And yeah, I did every diet you can possibly think of. I did South Beach diet, Atkins diet, low carb, high carb, fat, all fruit, no milk. I mean, like everything you can possibly think of. Like I tried it, and I tried it. I hard. I did everything right. I did the South Beach thing, and it just nothing worked. And I'm like, there has to be some sort of like algorithm that just encompasses all of this, because this person has a diet, and that person has a diet, and this person has a diet. Like, we're people. Like, I did a lot of research on social science and social behaviors and this and that. And granted, like, there's 7 billion different people on the planet. We all mildly want the same things. And I would think that if we're going to be designed as a human being, we're all pretty much designed to need the same stuff, right? Like, as an organism, like I looked at the body kind of as a robot. Like, you don't put sand in some cars for oil and then oil in other cars. Like, you do the same thing. So I started looking at whole foods and real foods, and basically seeing that the ingredients and the chemicals and everything that were just putting people down was the main reason for depression, sickness, tumors, cancer. I mean, you name it. Like, about 85% of most diseases at this point, I can safely say are reversible through diet alone.
Imagine that the natural things put on this planet could actually heal you and take care of you, right? And other than the synthetic bullshit we put together, but man's arrogance can't see past its own fucking brilliance. But I would say, man, you ran away from the modeling question. I'm really interested, man. When you say, were you full on body dysmorphic disorder, or where were you with that, man?
No, I was never pleased. And I think there's kind of, and I'm still not that. Let's see, how do I answer that question? I always want to be better. I'm always striving to be better and healthier, but now it's different. It's an all-encompassing. I want to be healthy and happy, and from the ground up. Before, I was trying to fit a certain type of image that I thought I needed to look like, and if that meant not eating that day and only eating tuna the whole next day, to get the abs that I wanted, then that's what I would do. And the food information wasn't out at this point to know what the hell I was supposed to be doing. I just thought, like the male models, the female models, you want to be skinny, you want to be lean. What do the girls do? They don't eat. Like, some of the girls I knew were crazy shit. They'd eat cotton balls. They would, all sorts of stuff to try to stay full.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you eat cotton balls and it just fills your stomach up. I never did anything crazy like that. I was never going to put some weird shit in my body. I mean, the worst I did was like eat just olives all day or something like that. I dated a girl for a long time, and she would eat like hearts of palm and olives and all this stuff out of a can, like all day long. That's what she would eat. And now looking back, I won't eat anything out of a can because the aluminum is in the food. So it's like, even all the way back. I was starving myself, not eating anything, just eating canned food, and even that was bad. So
I think you're seeing more and more of it too. I think, branched down in the younger generations, there's that whole thing with the thigh gap in females.
I would love to talk about that specifically. I met a girl, she's 15 years old. I met her and her mother. I got body painted for an event. There's a Halloween event. The girl was there doing something. And I started talking to the mom, and the mom found out what I did. And she's like, "We talked to my daughter. She's 15 and she's modeled, and you can imagine the body image issues that she has." And so I talked to her, and she's like, "I want to have a thigh gap, and I want to have this, and I want to have this." I'm like, "You realize that was just invented basically like by the internet as a thing that people should have, right? Like the way that you're built is not the same as a Victoria's Secret is built. You have curvy, she doesn't have curvy. It's just never going to happen." There was a TED talk where I believe her name is Cameron Russell. She talked about the chance of being a supermodel. It's not in the cards. If you have to try, you're going to get picked up to be a supermodel is basically what's going to happen. But the body image issues are it's out of control. You got these girls that are starving themselves and doing all these different, fat burners and this and that, when really, if you ate fruits and vegetables, they would have the body that they wanted. That's it.
Well, it's all in the guys too, because we do, right? We do hear all about like domestic violence, right? All you hear about is the male beating up the female, domestic violence, when truly the reverse sometimes research to happen more.
I've been in both. Yeah.
And me too. And the male models, you don't get talked about, but you have the same influence, you have the same pressures, you go through the same deals. And now what I'm also starting to see is a lot of these young kids, young men are filling themselves with supplements and all kinds of additives in their body, and they're 16, 15.
That I really appreciate you bringing that up. That is a huge, huge issue, is that these people, and I was guilty of it. I would spend food money on supplements. Because you look in these magazines and you think that all these guys, you see all that, you want muscle. You look at Arnold, you look at Stallone. I wanted muscle when I was a kid, and I still do. Like, Arnold's one of my idols. He always will be, just because of the things that he's been able to do and achieve. I don't have his body type. I'm never going to be his size. It's never going to happen. No matter how hard I try, even on steroids, I don't think that it would even be possible for me to ever just achieve the size of him. It's not going to happen.
It helps he's part Viking.
That also definitely helps. No shit. He drives a tank for a reason. Supplements are exactly supplements. That's what they're for. Your body was designed to ingest fruits, vegetables, enzymes, vitamins, fiber, everything that goes along with a fruit and a vegetable. When you take a supplement, it's a powder that is designed to replicate something that's found in nature. I don't think people understand that. They're like, the supplement is a replication of stuff that's in food. That's basically all it is. Like a whey protein shake is to supplement the fact that you're not getting enough protein into your diet. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, and I listened. I have suggested everybody. I've listened to this podcast 3 times. It's another Joe Rogan podcast, but it was Mark Sisson. It just happened, episode 752. I've listened 3 times. I've put 9 hours of my life into this podcast while I'm working on other stuff. But brother, he changed a lot of what I thought I knew about nutrition and ideas. I mean, well, honestly, it's basic duh. And he put out a book called The Primal Blueprint. And he observed animals and how they eat and how they would eat, and compared it to when we discovered agriculture. When we became a sedentary lifestyle, we started having issues with food because we had an abundance of food all the time. We stayed still in the meals a day, because we would have to fill our bellies full of food before we went and worked all day on the farm. Then we would come in and stuff your belly again and then pass out. And so we had an abundance of food. And so what he's done is talked about returning to those primal roots, which is no more sitting down to eat. It's grazing really all day. And he goes, you know what? If you want to eat red meat and you think it's good for you, what would you do if you didn't have bows, arrows, and guns? Could you eat red meat? And he's like, could you catch something? What would you do? And I was kind of like, shit. Now, I'm a red meat guy, I eat all that. But my point is, he was just putting to bed a lot of, bringing up new stuff, new changes, stuff that you're talking about. And, those supplements is what people don't get. It's just for that. You supplement what your body is not having. And the whole long reason that my ADHD ass brought that up was he was he talking. Yeah, you noticed, right?
No, I'm the same way, man.
Yeah, is he thinks that we generally double up our protein more than we actually even need, and protein just
Mhm.
turns to fat. And so I know a lot of guys that work out twice a week and are pounding whey protein shakes, you know what I mean, every day, wondering why they're still like kind of this tubby, thick, 240, you know?
And whey is dairy, which creates acidity in your body, which is not good for you anyway. And actually, there's something that I want to go ahead and explain about fruits and vegetables that can't be touched about with supplements. So fruits and vegetables have something in them called biophotons, right? So a photon is a particle of light, okay? Comes from the sun, carries the light. Photosynthesis occurs in the plant, in the vegetable, the plant grows, okay? There's biophotons. A biophoton, what that is a photon, a particle of light that's inside an organic being. So you glow, your aura. You ever heard of your aura?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's what that is. You ever seen like metaphysical fairs where they take pictures and you see the auras around people?
Yeah.
That is actually a biophoton meter. What that does is that is actually reading the emission of photons coming out of your body.
What?
Okay? Fruit and vegetables are the only place that you get biophotons where you actually can eat them. Fruit and vegetables actually contain light because they partake in photosynthesis.
That would make
So
sense.
they partake in photosynthesis. So get a load of this. You take an apple and put it on the little stand and take a picture with the biophoton meter and it glows.
Look at you. Yeah, look at here. Biophotons, the Greek meaning of life, meaning light, or photons of light in the ultraviolet and low visible light range, which are produced by biological systems. Look
So
at
we're being bombarded with photons from the sun. A photon is basically just a particle of light, because a light can be either a particle or a wave, depending on quantum mechanics, which I'm not going to get into. But yeah, you're eating.
definitely get into that, brother. I have my own theory about all that shit and why we want to go faster, why we're trying to go faster and leave the flesh behind for tech. Yeah, we can definitely smoke one and have a long conversation when
I
we're
would
doing
love
this
to.
podcast.
I would love to. But the thing is so like you take supplements or you take fruit juice or you take milk or you take any of this stuff and you put it down, you take a picture, it's just a dead silhouette. There's nothing. And so what are you eating all day? You're eating dead food.
What? All right, everyone out there, take a picture of all this stuff and post it on my Facebook or send it somewhere or Twitter, Instagram. I got to see all this dead food. That's awesome, dude. You're gonna have a lot of people snapping pictures of
If
food.
anybody's at a metaphysical fair, they could do this right now. If anybody could get, because it's called a biophoton meter, but there's another name for the actual camera, and they've been doing these cameras. I was raised metaphysical. That's how I got kind of into the spiritual stuff. It's just my mom was into all this. I was spoon bending at 12. She had me in like
Shout out to moms again, dude.
Shout out mom. Yeah, she's a special woman. Meditation, psychic readings, all that stuff. Yeah, so I was raised very metaphysical. So my whole thing with Naked Healthy, my blog, is I want to try to explain to people why they should eat healthy in a way that makes it fun and makes you want to do it. Like biophotons, tell me that doesn't make you want to eat an apple right now? Like
it does. I started looking at my fridge in my head. I'm like, all right.
If you have the option to eat literally light, and oh, get a load of this. And this is actually, so I have a book that I just finished. It's called Put This in Your Mouth, Love, Sex, and Plants. So I talk about biophotons in the book. They can actually, I can take a full body scan of you. And if you have disease that is precancerous forming in your body, I can see it because there's less light.
Holy shit. All right, man. All right, y'all on some voodoo shit now, man.
But no, it's all physical.
Wow.
Physical.
Wow, man. I got some research to do, Mr. Adam Gates.
Nothing that I'm saying right now is not anything that's not readable on an actual meter or visible. This isn't like, well, they think that you can see this. This is all stuff. You can Google this right now and it's all.
Oh no, hey, remember I said I'm on a mission for competence, brother, and you are feeding me today. I got some homework to do this week.
So, and yeah, your cells regenerate off of what you eat. And every time your DNA expands and contracts, every time it contracts, it emits a little biophoton. So it's actually coming from your DNA.
Holy shit, that is far out, man.
So fruits, vegetables actually help repair your DNA. But meanwhile, people are running around and they're trying to throw fat burners down. And they're, well, I don't want to eat, and fruit makes you fat and all this stuff. It's like wrong. Like everything is just backwards. And so that's why I started the blog, because once I realized like how completely 100% upside down backwards everything was, I'm like, I just couldn't be quiet about it. And that's what it was. Like I'm not a writer. I never wanted to be a writer. And here I am 2 years later. I wrote, I just finished my second book. I've been blogging for 2 years straight. And
what's the first book, man?
It's Put This in Your Mouth, Love, Sex, and Plants. That's the first one. And then the second one is Put This in Your Mouth, Juice.
Okay.
I did a 30-day juice book. But you saw what I was drinking at the beginning of the podcast. I juice vegetables now. So I had never juiced in my life, ever. I had done smoothies. I had done meals 5 times a day, running, eating clean, all that stuff. I did everything. And I knew that if you started juicing and you were obese, I knew what would happen. But I had never seen an athlete start juicing. They always do all this stuff with the people who are obese. Well, no shit. If you stop eating McDonald's and you start juicing, you're going to get healthier. We know that.
What happened to you?
I'm hooked for life. By like day 2, I'm like this. I'm so hooked. I'm never ever going to stop. I love it. I got it because I was not ingesting enough vegetables. That's it. I wanted more. There's stuff when's the last time you ate a turnip green or Swiss chard? Exactly. I had never had Swiss chard. Exactly.
Now, if you said beet or something like that, or even garlic, ginger, something, something a little more normal, but damn.
But too long ago. And there's all this produce on the planet. And this is how my brain started expanding. It was so small. It was from just you go for a substance, from the alcohol, and then all the way now I'm like researching what plants and vegetables can I ingest that I wasn't getting before. So I had an epiphany. I was standing,
bro. You could be in some fucking rehab somewhere, man.
Exactly. I know. And then I made my own with plants, and I still do meat. I don't want people to think that I don't eat meat. I do chicken, fish, and turkey. Red meat I've pretty much cut out. Pork I don't do. But yeah. So with the juicing, after about day 14, I realized that my meat intake dropped by about 30%, just naturally. The amount of protein that I was needing was lower because of basically you're hungry because you're nutrient deficient. You need nutrients. So as soon as you have nutrients in your body, you're not hungry anymore. That's why you can eat a whole bowl of ice cream and you're like, well, I can eat more ice cream because there were no nutrients in it. But I can drink this juice and I'm full for an hour and a half because my body's like, yep, got what we need. Thank you. And that's it.
I would agree, man. I do a green shake every morning. That's how I start my day, man. Is the hemp based protein from Onnit. Shout out there to Onnit.com. If you will, go to AdamLowery.com, click on the Onnit logo, and make a purchase, and you'll be helping out the Cognitive Rampage. Now back to our show. Yeah, no, I use the Onnit hemp protein powder. I'll throw some kale in there, some beets, some celery, carrots. A couple other things, but that's every morning, man. I start my morning with that shake. It's a kick in the ass, and I'm generally won't eat again for another, at minimum, 2 hours.
That's the best thing you can do. The only thing I would change about that would be to do a lemon water first.
Oh, why would I do the lemon water before my green shake?
So what lemon water does? Lemon is the number one alkalizing food that you can put into your body. I know it seems retroactive because it's so citrusy or so acidic. But lemon, when it goes into your body, it actually detoxifies your liver. It detoxifies your gut. Because of the pectin, the type of fiber that's in it, it actually helps protect your prostate, which, man, that's, I think, the second leading cause of death, second or third. It's way up there, prostate cancer. But what it does is it helps alkaline your body. Cancer grows in acidic environments. Your body becomes acidic through meat, dairy, alcohol, coffee, sugar, junk food, basically. That's how your body becomes acidic.
Basically, just name the diet of the American. What are you talking about?
Basically, yeah.
Dude, run down that list again, man. Hold on. Everyone listening now, let's see if you ate this in one given day. Would you say coffee, dairy, meat,
alcohol, sugar,
flour? All of those cause cancer, and more than likely, you listen to this podcast, you've been eating that shit for the last fucking 30 years, man.
Well, what they do is they raise your body's acidity, and when your body is acidic, then you are primed for cancer, and then cancer can grow in the acidic environment. So it's not. I don't want to say that just drinking milk is going to give you cancer. That's not necessarily what's going to happen.
None of you fuckers take my boy out of context here, or myself. Remember Dr. Scott Perlman was on our podcast too, who is just like you and me and GMO cancer causing motherfucker fighter. He's a badass from Brooklyn who don't give a shit. And he said some serious accusations on the podcast. You know what I mean? Yeah, so don't take my boy Adam out of context. We're not talking that drinking coffee will give you cancer or eating meat will give you cancer. We're just saying
that meat could give you cancer.
Okay, Adam's saying that meat will give you cancer. So what we're saying, is balance this shit out. These are the cancer causing things. I don't even fuck with dairy. I don't touch dairy at all.
No, dairy. I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to sit here and bash dairy and gross people out. And I don't like to do that and be the sensationalist and explain to you what you're actually drinking when you're drinking milk, because it's not all milk. But yeah, it takes about 2 or 3 videos of I didn't want to know. I pushed it out of my head, and I wanted to keep drinking milk, and I wanted to just continue drinking it. And then I did the research, and I found out that something like 78% of people are lactose intolerant. Okay, well, why are 78% of people lactose intolerant? Oh, because we drink breast milk as an infant, and then we become adults, and we're not supposed to drink breast milk anymore because we're adults. But we do, from another animal that's continuously forced to be pregnant, that's continuously forced to produce milk, and it throws your hormones out of whack. There's a reason why girls are developing at age 11 and 12 now that shouldn't be. It's the hormones you put in the milk. Yeah,
they're hitting periods at 9, brother. I mean, shit. I think I saw a 10-year-old with a beard the other day.
It's crazy. So the
you're talking about the acidic environment and the lemon water before the green shake.
So the lemon water, the reason for that, the acidity. So if your body is alkaline, so if you want a pH. So if your body is acidic, like I said, if you eat too much of meat and too much coffee and all those things that I mentioned, that makes your body acidic. The things that alkaline your body are things that are natural, that grow, fruits and vegetables. I'm not going to go into every single one because there's a lot of them, but lemon is the #1 most alkalining food that you can possibly consume. The smoothie that you're doing after is also alkalining your body. That's exactly what it's doing. But this is kind of like a double dose. And what the lemon water does.
Oh, sorry. After you explain the lemon water, explain the alkaline for the listeners too, man.
Sure. So the lemon water, it will actually detoxify your gut. So what you'll notice is, so you take a lemon, cut it in half, squeeze it in your glass, and you drink 16 ounces room temperature water. And you chug it. Okay, so the lemon gets cut in half, goes in the glass, room temperature water, and you want room temperature because if it's cold, it'll actually shock your system because your body's 98 degrees and it won't absorb 100% like it would if it was room temperature. And it will actually, you'll notice that if you haven't gone to the bathroom, a lot of times it'll help you go to the bathroom because it'll help detoxify and kind of clean out all that junk and stuff that gets built up in your intestines. Most people don't know this. When you eat flour, it creates like a cement that you have 30 feet of digestive tract. So when you eat flour, it creates like a cement that just goes through your small intestine and large intestine, and it just gets caked in there, and it sits, and you wonder why you're bloated and you're gassy and you're this and you're that. It's because there's stuff in your system that just there.
All I like to tell people is get some of that pancake Bisquick mix and pour that shit and get it wet and let it stick to your dishes. And then just leave it out over one night. Just take the pancake mix, get it wet, and leave it in a bowl overnight. Wake up the next morning and try to get that shit off your fucking dishes and scrape that hell. It's fucking Gorilla Glue, man. And look at it. And then it's a swampy, sticky, mucky, and look at it. And that's what your pancake turns into when it goes down in your intestine.
I know. It's disgusting. And not only your pancake, your muffin, your bread, bread. This whole grain thing in the bread, they add sugar to it. The wheat is genetically modified.
Is there any bread that's okay? I mean, because I've seen this organic bread stuff. What bread is technically okay?
So the brand that I trust, and I'm sure that there's other brands, but the one that I use is Ezekiel bread. The reason I use them is because they're flourless. They use a sprouted grain. So what they do is they actually sprout a little vegetable. It sprouts up. They dry it. They grind them all up, and then they make a bread with it. And it's fantastic. They make a cinnamon raisin. They have a sesame. But the flour is what wheat, white, it doesn't matter because it's still flour. It's creating like a paste in your system. And then on top of that, you think, well, I'm going to get wheat because wheat's good for you. they fucked all the wheat up. It's all genetically modified. You can send Monsanto a thank you note for that, because all the wheat used to grow at 4 feet tall and thin. Now it grows 2 feet tall and fat, and it's Roundup ready. So
you mean just like every American?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the problem is that, and when I started all this, I thought that a lot of people were overweight because it was their fault. And then I realized that it's not.
They don't know, brother.
It is not. And people are trying to lose weight that can't lose weight. And that's where I started yelling. And that's where my blog started, because it's like the people that actually want to, if you don't care what you eat, that's fine. I'm not for you. You keep doing whatever you want to do, and more power to you. I think all drugs should be legal. I think anybody, if you want to shoot heroin, I think you should be able to do it. I don't think there's any, they're doing it in Portugal, and look what all their crime dropped. So you should be able to do whatever it is that you want to do. But for the people that want to make a conscious effort, and you think that you're buying Chobani yogurt because it's healthy for you, and then you look at the side and you realize that there's 17 grams of sugar, that's not healthy. A gram of sugar is a packet. It's like you're not going to put 17 packets of sugar into your yogurt in the morning and be like, I'm going to go for a run. Like, how much sense does that make? But we don't think that way because it says it's healthy, and there's a picture of a farm on the package.
And it says natural.
And it says natural. It just, everything says natural. Natural means nothing, by the way. Natural can mean anything. Tar is natural.
Yeah, right. And I love how you said that, man, because it does come across as if it's the people's fault. And what like you said, I like to tell them that one, you're just undereducated, you're underdeveloped, and you've been over marketed. I wrote a paper, I think my senior year, a long time ago, where I said that marketing ended the world. That was the name of the paper. Marketing was the end of the world. And once we started marketing and tapping into people's psyche, we began to control the masses. And so the masses have now been plugged and psychologically beat down with commercials and lookalikes, but they have no idea. And there's so much information now, Adam, that it's just noise. How do people, how did you get through all the noise that was out there to find the real research?
I stopped listening to everything. There's too many diets on TV. There's too many do this, do that, this new health product, that new health product, all this stuff. I think what happened along the way is when I was doing my research for marijuana, because I was just as brainwashed as everybody. I argued against legalization of marijuana in high school. I just want to go ahead and make that point that everybody knows that. When I was doing my research for marijuana,
flopper, Adam Gates, are you a flip flopper?
I'm a flip flopper. Yeah.
Why the fuck is that such a negative connotation? What's wrong with changing your fucking mind? I think
because I went from being brainwashed to not being brainwashed. So if that's how you flip flop, then by all means, I have flip flops. So
I think a flip flopper in politics is okay. That means somebody's humble enough to change their fucking mind.
It takes a strong man to say that they were uninformed, or that they were wrong, and that they're willing to make change their mind, or and change their stance on something. Because I just want to be educated. I don't have any bias. I just want to make you, me, and everybody else as happy and healthy as possible. That's my plan. So does that mean we can eat milk, or does that mean we can't eat milk? I don't give a shit. What is it? So no? Okay, great. Moving on. So we're not going to do milk. Okay, cool. No to the cheese? All right, no to the cheese. Cool. So with the cancer, I was doing all this research on marijuana, and people, healing themselves with marijuana and cannabis oil and all these different things. And I started seeing people that were healing themselves with food, with cancer. People that were terminally ill, had tumors, stage 4 cancer, sent home to die, whose friends showed up at their house and said, fuck it, this isn't how you're going out. This is how we're going to do this. We've done the research. And healed themselves on raw food diets. Some in as short as 30 days, which is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Wow. And I said to myself, logically speaking, if that will heal a cancer, why would that not prevent a cancer or make somebody who's already healthy just even more healthy? Like, that makes sense, right? And not worry about all this other stuff that's going on. Okay, so what causes cancer? Sugar. Sugar raises the acidity in your body faster than anything. So we were talking about the acidity and the alkalinity earlier. Sugar raises your body's acidity. So is the fruit juice? Yeah, it says fruit on it, but there's no fiber. As soon as it goes into your system, it's the same as a soda. It spikes your blood sugar through the roof. It's like a high jump, and then it drops you. That happens over and over and over. That's how you develop insulin resistance. That happens long enough, you have diabetes. And that's it. That's literally how people develop diabetes.
And you got to think, And you got to think, and now diabetes is happening younger and younger to this
Shit, man.
generation too.
6-year-olds. I mean, like infants, like your parents are giving their children diabetes with the food that they're giving them. My girlfriend, I have a picture on my Instagram page of an infant being fed Diet Coke at an
Oh,
airport.
dude, I got like I get death threats about every month on my podcast, just random shit.
That means you're doing a good job.
Yeah, I hope so. And hey, the offer stands, motherfucker. You know where to find me. And so what I get it mainly for, and I'm gonna get 10 more after I say this, and I said it again and I'll say it again. If your child is obese or overweight, that is fucking child abuse. You are
I agree.
abusing your child.
I agree. And that will be, and that's what I said actually in the post, is that in the future, that's going to be the same thing as putting a cigarette in a kid's mouth. I really feel in my heart, and I don't know, probably shouldn't even, there's a few petitions that I've been wanting to start, but one of which is soda cans need to have a Surgeon General warning on them, the same as cigarettes do, period. Absolutely, period. There, there's like hardly anything on this planet that's less healthy than soda.
Oh, how about this? How about we just take the warning labels off of everything and we just do some population control? And those of you that drink the fucking paint, well, you got to go. I'm sorry. You shouldn't fucking be here anyway.
Well, I get.
Is that too
I know, and I get into arguments over people that, because people try to defend diet soda to me all the time, and I tell, Diet Coke is worse because of the aspartame and everything else, and people get blue in the face, trying to defend their Diet Coke, and it's like, listen, I'm going to bow out of this conversation, but I'll tell you what, in 10 years, you come to me, we'll compare how everybody's feeling, what your doctor bills are, what my doctor bills are, and we'll see who's right. It's the same as the e-cigs. E-cigs, it's not good for you people. I got to tell you, it's switching from one thing to another thing. It's not, if you switch to weed, it's not, it's totally different.
You talked about the cost, which I'm going to bring up. I actually talked about in my book. I don't talk a lot about nutrition, et cetera, in my book because I believe it's such an individualized thing. And it's something that you have to see competence on your own, because you got to find what works for you, what your flow is. And but what I talk about is mainly, if you talk to anyone, that's amidst the noise of nutrition and cost and organic and clean eating, is they basically tell you that they can't afford it or it's too expensive. And I'm going to tell you, you're wrong. And if you think so, all you got to do, and you said it now, is add up all of the Tums, the Advil, all of the over-the-counter prescription medications you're buying to combat the bloated, the stomach, the heartburn, and then add up your doctor bills, your surgical bills, your insurance bills as you get older, and all the medications you're taking. It's not even remotely close.
And on top of that, who's taking you to the hospital? People are drinking soda like it's my body, it's my body, it's my, really? Because somebody's going to have to take care of you. It's going to be a family member or it's going to be a close friend, and you're doing that to somebody that you care about, because hopefully you have somebody that you care about that will take care of you when you end up that sick. So on top of that,
to yell at you over a drink, I think that's generally you go to rehab when someone is trying to say not to drink that liquid and you scream at them and you fight with them. We're gonna have soda rehab soon, bro.
I know. We really need it. Well, the problem, it's just brainwashing. It's brainwashing. It's very manipulative, strategic, brilliant brainwashing. I mean, the food industry is what is it, $1 trillion, $1 billion? I don't know how much. It's outrageous. I mean, everybody eats. If you're alive, you eat. So that's pretty much everybody. So if you can control that, you kind of got control over everything.
Well, it's guys like you that are going to help the common person, man, because, a lot of people, like we said, we're sitting here talking shit about it, and frankly, I'm starting to feel bad. I'm having a conscious attack now. And I'm starting to feel bad because, there's truly, we said it before, there's those out there that just don't know. And, they weren't raised a certain way. They were raised on the mashed potatoes, the 3 square meals a day.
Their parents did it, and their parents did it.
That's right. And they just don't know. And so, I don't want to sound like I did sound like a heartless asshole, but, most of my condensation or my being condescending is toward the big corporate America that's fucking us up, not the people that are really trapped by it. Because those that are trapped by it, it's guys like you, Adam, that will reach people, that somebody will see your post. And whether it's 1 or 10 or 10 million, the one makes it worth it,
And that's where I started. I started posting. I started on my page and on my personal page, and I just started posting information that I found important. When Fajay and Chobani got sued, everybody's healthy yogurt. And then they have a lawsuit because they changed the name of sugar to evaporated cane juice or dehydrated cane juice, one of the two. But they changed the name of sugar. And then people were eating it thinking it because there's no added sugar. Well, bullshit. You just changed the name. You can't do that. So when stuff like that, I started sharing it, not knowing who was going to care. And I'm not a certified nutritionist. I didn't go to college for this. This is all just stuff that I learned on my own because initially I wanted to save my own life and help myself out and get healthy. And then people started asking me questions. And so I started answering those questions. And then I started putting the asked questions online and putting my answers online. And people started showing up. And it just, now it's 2 years later. And, here we are. And I do everything I do that I do online, I do for free. So all I'm trying to do is raise the awareness and the collective consciousness of this planet. I'm not trying to sell a protein. I'm not trying to sell a fat burner. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just trying to get the point across to people. Just my whole mantra is don't eat food with ingredients. That's the best way to eat. Just broccoli's not an ingredient.
That's good, man. That's good. That's the first time I heard that.
That's the easiest. I came up with that because I was trying to figure out a way to explain to people. They're like, well, how do you eat? I'm like, I don't eat stuff that has ingredient lists on the back of it, because once you start getting into processed food, you start dealing with who knows what's in it, and you can't trust what's in it. So I knew that there were people that wanted answers. If people don't, like I said, if people want to do, do whatever you want to do, but for the people that do want help, I'm here to help as many people as I possibly can. It's just information. Knowledge is power. Once you have the information, it's a lot easier to make the decision.
Oh man, yeah, it is, man. That competence search is detrimental, man. That's why I write about it so much in my book, man. And is seeking the competence and the knowledge, man. Those experiences, I say, reveal passions. There's passions hidden beneath all of us that I think many don't know that they have. And until you chase, there's an inventory that you do in my book that I have people work out called the IDE inventory, and you fill it out without your life and as you do things. But IDE essentially uses my CCE principle, which is an interest can lead to competence, can lead to confidence and enthusiasm. And enthusiasm is the state of happiness that you can create. And so as I begin to chase small interests, I can get competent through that experience. And in that experience, all of a sudden, passions can be revealed in your life and just show up, like painting, like nutrition blogging, like taking care of others, just like you, my brother. I mean, dude, I look back on my notes here, man, and you come from a loving home, right? So according to the research, you're not supposed to battle addiction, but you did, and that proves that it hits everybody. But you fight addiction, you fight depression, you fight body dysmorphic disorder, my brother. You chase all of this pure competence, all because you questioned yourself from the very beginning. You questioned everything you thought you knew, and you've brought yourself to here, brother, which is an amazing, naked, and healthy fucking place that I see that you're being, dude. I mean, and when you chased it, dude, you chased every slight interest and with competence and created so many experiences, man. And I think that's where your enthusiasm comes from, brother. And I'm fucking thank you for sharing your cognitive rampage with me and everybody, Adam.
I certainly appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's just I appreciate the microphone. If I have two more ears that heard anything that said, well, maybe this guy's on to something, and they go and do their own research. I advise everybody to do their own research. You don't have to take anything I say for what it's worth. Just do your own research, and see where the studies are from. There's a lot of studies that say milk's good for you, but they're done by the dairy industry. So you might want to make sure that something's not from a dairy industry. Go on YouTube videos and watch videos of people that have been sick that are now no longer sick and see what they did. That's one of my best suggestions, for people to go on and just kind of see everything I'm encompassing into one. There's a very easy way to be healthy, and that is, don't eat processed foods, don't drink refined foods. That's basically it. If it has a natural flavor in it, it's not normal. Stay away from it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you took those questions. It's my last three questions I always ask the guests at the end. And I was going to ask you, what would be your advice to someone out there battling with some nutrition? You covered that one, I'm going to try to hit home. I'm going to try to swing for your soul here, brother, and hit you with two questions in one. But what would you tell the young model out there who may be struggling with some sort of body dysmorphic disorder or some idea of what he looks like compared to an industry, what would you tell that young man? And then wrap it up with answering the question, what is your drive every day and what drives you every day?
For the young man or woman that's not happy with their body, you know, depending on their age, I didn't really stop growing physically until I was about 23 or 24 years old, and my face is still changing, and I'm 34 years old. So you're going to continuously look different as you get older. That when you're younger, the 15-year-old model I spoke about earlier, she had baby fat on her, and she was worried about, you know, a thigh gap. I'm like, you're still 15 years old. Like, you don't have to. Your body's gonna change into the woman that you want to be. Eat real food. Eat real food. Drink a ton of water. Eat a ton of, you know, I have all this stuff on my website, nakedhealthy.com. Also, I explain, you know, how I eat. Eat real food. Don't worry about the supplements. Don't starve yourself. If you starve yourself, it slows your metabolism, which makes you hold body fat. It's a fight or flight mechanism. Don't starve yourself. So take care of yourself, work out, exercise, you know, 4 days a week, exercise, and do things that make you happy, and eat fruits and vegetables. If you're happy, if your cells are happy, if they're being properly, if they're getting the proper nutrients, they're going to be happy, which is going to put you in line with doing things that are going to make you happier, which are going to make you more apt to exercise and more apt to read things that you care about. It's just about doing things that make you happy. And then what was the second part to the question? To tie it all in, you said?
Well, I'm gonna two-part this one, brother. What's your drive every day, and what drives you every day? And lastly, end it with, you know, what's the Adam Gates philosophy of life, man?
I'm gonna actually, I'll tell you what I told my mom recently. When I was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a person that I saw myself that I wanted to be. I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to make a difference in my community. I didn't want to be belligerent. I had an image in my head of how I wanted to be, and I decided that I was that person, and I started making decisions as if I was that person. I just started working backwards. And a person that respects themselves and does things for themselves isn't going to be belligerent and be drunk at a party and run around and do silly things. You know, they're going to do things out of respect. If I respect myself the same way I respect you, I have to treat you with the same respect that I treat myself. And if you respect yourself, you're not going to be belligerent and do things like that. And what motivates me the most, honestly, is I want to raise the collective consciousness of this planet as much as possible. What that is when you see birds and fish all swimming together in unison in a flock, and their wings don't touch. There's a collective consciousness that's involved in there. It's a bigger brain. It's on the outside, so to speak, that allows them to know when to do what. They metered this on 9/11. Actually, there was a huge spike of the collective consciousness on the planet on 9/11. The more positivity we have in the world, the less negativity we have in the world, the happier everybody is. It affects everybody. We are connected. So what motivates me is just every day by day, just doing my little bit to make every decision that I make as positive as possible.
Man, hell of a rampage, brother. It sounds like that's your drive. It also sounds, it's kind of like your philosophy too, man. That was the last part, is that, you know, what's your philosophy of, what's the Mr. Adam Gates Naked Healthy life philosophy?
Mind, body, spirit. You know, each one, you want mind, body, and spirit healthy and happy. If you have all three of those working, it'll flow. And that's, you know, that goes back to the younger kids, you know, the 14, 15, 16, all the way up. You know, if you're tormenting yourself over trying to look a particular way, you're tormenting your mind. So you're not going to have mind, body, and spirit in unison. You're chasing a body, but your mind is going to be miserable. Your spirit's going to be broken because you're constantly not going to be happy. So it's very important to just do what makes you happy and eat real food. That's really the it sounds simple, but most people talk ourselves out of it. It can't be that easy.
No, it's not, man. And, you know, doing a podcast is not always easy for people either, man. And you came right on, and thank you for the transparency, man, the openness, anything that, because I will tell you one thing that is real is podcast remorse. Is you'll hang up the podcast and go, shit, I forgot to say something. So what I try to do at the end is go, is there anything you wanted to talk about that we missed?
Yeah, don't take advantage of each other, and don't hurt each other. That was one of the best advice from Mark, my homeless friend in Boulder. That was Those were his 2 rules. Don't take advantage of people and don't hurt, don't hurt each other. And that's, it sounds simple, but it's very easy to take rather than give. And if we just give a little bit more than we take, it's not that hard to change. We all just need to make a little bit of an effort, just a little bit. We don't all need to change everything, just little bits and pieces and steps here and there, baby steps, and it'll get you there. But no, I could talk for 7 hours about all this stuff, so we'll never cover everything. I mean, there's so many different angles and avenues, and don't eat food with ingredients. I'll leave you with that.
Where can everybody find you at, man? One more shout out to anybody you love and where everybody can find you at.
I spend most of my time on my blog on Facebook, so Naked Healthy by Adam Gates. And then I have nakedhealthy.com. I talk about food, and I've got recipes for smoothies and green drinks and things on there, and my top 10 of what I do every day. And then on Instagram, I'm constantly posting motivational and inspirational pictures and a little bit of my goofiness on there as well. I like art and cats, so I got some of that on there. But same thing, Naked Healthy by Adam Gates.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. And, we got to do one more thing after we hang up if I can turn the camera, we have in the studio a cave wall. And on the cave wall, every guest that's ever been in the cave has written a statement on the wall, their quote on the wall, and they sign it and leave. And so I got to write for you. So what I'm starting first, as of today, you will be the very first virtual guest that I will write for you on the cave wall of what needs to be. And I thought it was, you know what, at least the virtual guys got to get on the cave wall too, man. So,
Done.
So whatever phrase we're going to add to that, man, we'll write it on.
You ready?
Yep.
Go love yourself.
Bam. Go love yourself. Sign Adam Gates will be on the cave wall. Again, my brother, thanks for being on the podcast, man. You'll do this again with me? I'd love to catch up with you.
I would love to. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff I want to cover. This was kind of an all-encompassing, but if you want to cover anything specific or I would love to. I really appreciate you giving me the time and the opportunity.
If I cover anything, it's going to be covering you. So, I mean, if you want to bring anything to the table, you bring it to the table, brother. I'll talk about whatever it is you want to chat about, man. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'd love to do a whole episode just on marijuana. I really would.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know. When's a good time? You want to do? I don't know. We'll plan when we get off of this. We'll definitely have you back on.
Absolutely. Because like I said, the next book I'm working on is going to be the marijuana book, and also I didn't say this, but I'm going to do a documentary. My friend's documentary. Films documentary. So I'm gonna go to LA, do some research out there, go to Colorado, do our research out there, do a little bit here in Texas, and then we're gonna turn the book into a documentary.
Put this in your mouth, cannabis?
Yep.
We may have to talk because we have one documentary in process right now called Chemical Incarceration.
Excellent.
And that's talking about how addiction is currently treated with the Florida model, which is really just addicting more people. But we tell the story of how all that got into place.
Oh, it's crazy. Marijuana, it's we know the same stats. It helps. It works. It works better than anything.
Well, we're headed from Chemical Incarceration is just part 1 of this documentary series. And there's a part 2 to this documentary series there where you and I maybe should talk about what you're doing and what we're doing. Yeah, I like it. I think we may be on the same road, man. Where can people find your books, man?
You know what? They're both actually. I just completed both of them. They're my first 2 books. I moved to Texas, and within the span of about 2 months, I decided to pop out a couple books. So I'm actually they're in process of being edited right now, and then as soon as they are up and available, I'll definitely let you know so that you can get them up.
Yeah, let me know, man. We are I'm 5 weeks out from my book finally dropping.
Congratulations.
Is coming out, man. So
are you doing an ebook? Are you publishing?
Yeah, it's all over. It's ebook, Kindle, Amazon, a few bookstores.
Congratulations.
You know how it is. You ain't there yet. You write the book and you're like, woohoo. Wait, what?
My girlfriend keeps asking me, she goes, "You've been done with the book for 2 months. I don't understand. You keep saying you're almost done." I'm like, "Yeah, but the word's in the wrong place. You don't understand. I got to shuffle this word, got to move this word." And it's
Yeah, when I was like, I'm like done with the book. It should be out soon. I was even on the podcast, like it should be out in a couple weeks or something, And I'm like, no. The publisher's like, no. We got to edit this thing 5 times at minimum. Then you got to review it, and these 3 people got to read it. Then you got to. I'm like, oh. Okay, I'll just say the book's coming out in 2016 then. They were like, yeah, say that.
Well, congratulations. It's a long road, and you should be very proud.
Yeah, and I
Good work,
encourage
man.
everybody out there. I think everybody's got a book in them, man. You know,
I do too. My mom told me that for years, and it's just to go love yourself. The whole point of that is if you love yourself and you take care of yourself and you do things, you love your dad, you love your mom, you love your brothers, you love your sisters, you would do anything for them. But we don't treat ourselves like that, and so we don't do things like that for ourselves. We treat ourselves like shit, and then we treat other people like shit because we don't care about ourselves. But the more I started actually drop ego, and I'm not talking ego. Ego is totally different from love. You love yourself. You do things for people that are actually genuine, and it's easier to make decisions when a split decision comes up. You don't have to think about it. You just do what's in the best interest for everybody involved. So, a little backdrop to that. Go love yourself.
well, I think our next podcast, brother, we're just gonna call it "Go Love Yourself on Cannabis."
I love
And
it.
we'll do that in the next 30, 45 days at most, right?
Perfect.
Oh man, dude, Adam, I love the fuck out of you, bro. You're a badass.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely mutual. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, dude, and we'll do it again soon, man. Much love from the Rampage, dude, and again, thanks.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Love you guys.
Bye.